He can do one, he can do one, and he can do one too. What is it with these ex-pros and journalists telling the supporters of Newcastle United that we have nothing to moan about? I'm sick of it. I sometimes feel it's Groundhog Day as a Newcastle United fan right now. A typical week looks something like this. In the build-up to the match, there's a small level of anticipation from the fans, more hope than anything else. Then we get whoever is assigned to talk about our match on Soccer Saturday spouting absolute nonsense about Steve Bruce and how well he's doing. Fans then point out the statistics behind the false narrative, and then Newcastle United take to the field and play poorly. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose, and occasionally we'll draw. But the performance is always the same. Less possession than the opposition, fewer shots, and we'll be playing whatever the opposite of expansive, beautiful, free-flowing football is. Perhaps restricted, ugly, stilted hoofball would sum it up instead. Anyway, after the match, if the result has seen us pick up a point or more, then we get the likes of Robbie Savage goading fans into a reaction, asking us why we're unhappy with Bruce. By Savage's logic, unless we're in the relegation zone, we have absolutely no right to complain about Steve Bruce whatsoever and the way he's running our team. It is so ridiculous of him, and others it should be added to simply take one result in isolation and make sweeping generalisations about it. Here are the overall trends of Steve Bruce's Newcastle United. We've won 6 league matches in 2020 out of 24 games. Dubravka made the most saves in the Premier League last season, and this season Darlow has so far made the most saves of any other keeper. This is not a coincidence. In fact, since lockdown, we've kept only 3 clean sheets. We've allowed 51 shots alone in the matches against Man United and Spurs. That's just in 2 games. We've also made the most clearances in the Premier League this season, 153 of them, and we average about a goal a game. Last season, we did average 1 goal a game. I could go on, but I think you get the idea. These stats paint a picture of what Newcastle United's true identity is under Steve Bruce. It's a team who spends a lot of time soaking up pressure and offering very little in an attacking sense too. Wilson, for example, is always isolated, and Joe Linton, while we know he's not the answer to anything, had the same issue last season. Anyone who has spent a significant amount of time watching Newcastle United know how bad it is. And whilst I appreciate the argument that it's a result business and Bruce kept us up last season, I don't agree with that argument as a good enough reason to be satisfied with him. What the likes of Tim Sherwood and Robbie Savage fail to appreciate is that for fans, it really isn't just about winning and getting points. Supporters are deeply invested in their team. They spend an awful lot of money and time following their team around. And whilst all supporters want their team to win, there is a simple but often unspoken truth that doesn't extend to all ex-professionals who are conditioned to win at all costs during their careers. And that is, for supporters, we also want some entertainment along the way too. It's okay for the professionals whose job it is to win at all costs. I get that. But football fandom is different. And when people spend hundreds or even thousands of pounds to back their club through thick and thin and travel the country, part of that deal is actually to want to enjoy some of it too. Under Bruce in particular, and more generally under Ashley's reign, the fun of supporting Newcastle United has been ground away to nothing. Bruce has a squad of players at his disposal with some excellent attacking, exciting players in it. But he has proven that over a prolonged period of time, he simply cannot set a team up to do anything other than be second best. We rarely, if ever, dominate a game of football. We're always on the back foot in matches, and this is a pattern that we've been exposed to for well over a season now. To me, all of this seems obvious as to why every single Newcastle fan is well within their rights to be absolutely hacked off at what we have to witness week in, week out. When you have the opposition players coming out telling you how frustrating it is to play against a Newcastle team who are clearly only playing for a point, then you know things must be bad. And yet, the likes of Savage, Sherwood and Merson seem to go out of their way to back Bruce at all costs, in spite of all the evidence that is there, smacking them in the face. They're either deliberately ignoring that evidence, deliberately not doing their research and have some sort of agenda to stick up for Steve Bruce for whatever reason, or they're just morons. We frequently hear these pundits say things like, what do Newcastle fans expect? Well, let's take Leeds, shall we? They've come up from the Championship after 15 years in the wilderness and are playing a fantastic brand of exciting, attacking football. They'll win some, they'll lose some, but their fans will be loving what Bielsa is doing there. If they finish mid-table, at least their fans will have memories and moments that they can remember and talk about. They're giving it a go, and I'm pleased for them. Mr. Savage and Mr. Sherwood, it's not about where we finish, it's about how we get there. And under Steve Bruce, it's the most boring, soul-destroying route you could ever imagine. But you won't appreciate that because you don't have to watch it every single week. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please hit the like button and consider subscribing too if you haven't already, and I will see you really soon for another video.